going on, everyone? So, assuming the San Antonio Spurs land Kevin Durant, right? It's looking more and more likely like that's going to happen and that's going to be the case. We even got reports yesterday that Kevin Durant actually prefers a San Antonio Spurs trade. So now we have his camp wants him to go there. Spurs want him to go there. The Phoenix Suns are interested in a trade with the Spurs. And Kevin Durant wants to go to the Spurs. So I do think it's really trending towards that direction, that Kevin Durant will be, in the black and silver, that he will be a San Antonio Spur at some point, right? I don't want to say it's a matter of when, not if yet, but it's kind of feeling like it's getting closer to that, right? Like, hey, things are really trending. You never know. There's other teams that can pony up a lot. And if you're Phoenix, right, if Houston's like, hey, here's everything, right, and they overpay for Kevin Durant, then maybe that changes. But I do think the Spurs have enough to go and acquire him to satisfy the Phoenix Suns, as well as still maintaining the roster and pieces around Kevin Durant to where he can be plugged in and now you're a contending team, right? But one of the things and one of the questions that I proposed in a previous video is the potential of the number 2 pick, right? And I talked about, like, would Kevin Durant influence the Spurs pick, right? Because right now it appears to be a lock that they are going to draft Dylan Harper. However, Kevin Durant in that trade is expected to happen on or before the upcoming NBA draft, right? It could happen at any point at any time, right? Because Phoenix wants to kind of get that out the way, kind of figure out what are their picks. Do they get some picks in this draft? Kind of do their due diligence accordingly. So with that, let's just, for argument's sake, because this is just a fun kind of conversation video, is let's say that, the Spurs trade for Kevin Durant before the draft, right? And they're able to keep the number 2 pick. I already talked about, do you maybe instead of drafting Dylan Harper, do you maybe go get an Ace Bailey or something, right? Get a bigger forward that can slot in at the 3 or the 4 for you. Maybe you're going and getting a Malik or something like that, right? Like there's options for the Spurs to go and get other guys. But if you're not going to take Dylan Harper, the other immediate kind of thought that comes to mind, and which I want to kind of highlight and have a conversation on in this video, is the potential of trading back, right? So you have the number 2 pick. Well, there's teams like the Brooklyn Nets, for example. Well, what if you could get a Cam Johnson plus the number 8 pick and maybe even the 19th pick? So you trade the 14th pick to go get Kevin Durant, you land Kevin Durant, and then you immediately solve your other forward position. And on top of that, you still go get a quality player in the lottery, and maybe you can also get your 19th pick as well, to where you basically, obviously the 19th and the 14th pick are very different, but still you could go potentially get another guy. So you might be able to go, like, your starting 5. I mean, think about this for a second before you're somebody, because I know some people are just going to be like, absolutely not, you don't trade the number 2 pick. But listen to this for a minute. You would have De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, right? Kevin Durant, Cameron Johnson, and Victor Wembanyama as your starting 5. That is one of the best starting 5s in all of basketball, at least on paper. Talking about multiple shooters, multiple sizable forwards that can defend multiple positions. You have 2 athletic point of attack guards. You'd also have depth. You'd have everything, right? Oh, and by the way, you could still go draft a Malik. You could still go draft, maybe a Kneppel. You could go draft one of these other guys to add to your young core. Maybe go draft a center or something like that. And then maybe even the 19th pick to go and draft another guy. So, yes, you could land Dylan Harper, but here's my concern with going and getting Dylan Harper. You have your backcourt basically locked up. Dylan Harper is probably most likely going to be best as like that James Harden SGA type. I mean, he's even said it himself, right? That's how he views himself, as that combo guard. Right? Yes, he is, 6'6" with shoes on. So technically you could slot in at the 3, or you could slide Stephon Castle at the 3. But then you have a bunch of 6'5" guards, right? With Kevin Durant at the 4, and then Victor Wembanyama. But again, how much you need balance, right? The beauty of a team like OKC, that you look at, yes, they have a bunch of guards, but those are real balance. That's why they went and got, an Alex Caruso, and they also went and got Isaiah Hartenstein, right? And you've seen them go with 2 bigs. You've seen them go small, right? You need to be chameleon-like, right? And my concern is with Dylan Harper, immediately, at best is the fourth option, likely the fifth, right? Because bare minimum, he's not going to be above Victor Wembanyama, Kevin Durant, and De'Aaron Fox. Bare minimum, best case scenario for Dylan Harper is he is your fourth option behind those three for the next 3 to 4 years. I mean, I don't think they're trading for Kevin Durant for him to be a one-year rental, right? The idea is like you get Kevin Durant, finishes this season, and then he signs a new, 2-year deal or something like that, and then you'll see what happens there. So bare minimum, he's playing probably 3 years. So, one, are you bringing Dylan Harper off the bench for the next 3 years? 2, right, like, what kind of development and role is he going to play when at best he's your fourth option, right? Like, yes, you could argue maybe he's the sixth man off the bench, and yeah, there could be some vibe, but why not go get better positions of need, turn that number 2 pick into, greater value, immediately become a title contender and solve all of your needs. Again, you solve both your forward spots. Now you have a real competitive top end starting 5 and De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Kevin Durant, Cameron Johnson, and Victor Wembanyama, while still being able to go draft somebody at number 8, while still being able to draft somebody at 19, while still being able to round out the roster with free agency acquisitions or various trades. I mean, if you can get the 19th, you could even take the 19th pick and look to go trade that and go get another piece or two. Or maybe you're getting something else from the Spurs as well. Maybe you're, getting a Day'Ron Sharpe in the process too as like a backup center, right? So you're getting the 8th pick and Day'Ron Sharpe, that would be a sign and trade, so it would hard kept them, but I don't think that they're going to be into the aprons anyway, right? So now you have a backup center, you have, the 8th pick, and you have Cameron Johnson, and we know the Brooklyn Nets are shopping the Cameron Johnson with the 19th pick, that they want to get into the lottery and they're trying to get somewhere in the top 10s. Okay, well, if they're willing to trade Cameron Johnson in the 19th pick to land, the 10th pick, you don't think that they'd give up both of those plus the 8th pick to land the number 2 pick and get the franchise guy? And they'd still have 2 more picks in the, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have 5 firsts in this draft, right? So or I think 5 picks total. I think one of them is like the 38th pick. So, but point is, they have like 5 picks in this draft, right? So they could turn 2 of them plus Cameron Johnson, which is a team that's going into the full rebuild mode. If they can turn that into the number 2 pick and then they can draft Dylan Harper, that can be their franchise guy. And the Spurs, again, are trying to win now while still maintaining and balancing for the future. I think that's a win-win. Right? Again, it's just a thought. It's just a fun conversation. If you're somebody that hates it and is like, absolutely not, you go get Dylan Harper, that's fine, right? Again, it's just get fun conversations, because the beauty is, at the end of the day, the Spurs have a ton of options, and options are a good thing, right? The more options that they have, the better. Right? The more potential to do this move and that move and round out this, the better. So the fact that they can, if they want to, trade back and get multiple picks, right? The fact that they can just draft Dylan Harper, the fact that they could turn that, I mean, technically they go get Kevin Durant. I don't know if they get Giannis too, but they can go get Kevin Durant and another big name guy, because Kevin Durant and Giannis would be like 110 million, something like that. But point is that they could go and get there's so many different options for that team. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.